What's up, guys? This is John from Acosta Productions. Thanks again for joining us. Today we have Stan Arthur, who is a video production specialist at Stetson University College of Law. Stan, how's it going, man?
Great. How you doing, John?
Pretty excellent. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show today. We've got a lot to talk about in regards to your whole trail of work and what you've done and how far you've come as a video production specialist. So let's just jump right into it, man. First, if you could just state your full name and kind of tell us what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Stan Arthur, and I'm a video production specialist for Stetson University College of Law. I create all of their marketing videos for their web features, just about anything that's required. I work in the Office of Communications here. I also do a lot of stuff on the academic side. I have a large green screen studio and a 4-camera TriCaster setup where we shoot online courses.
Awesome. And so you're constantly producing and churning out videos for people to learn, for people to watch, to view. I mean, what's the specialty when it comes to your video stuff?
Do a lot of there's a focus on what they call admissions and development, which means basically mo students, mo money. So
Yep.
so we make a lot of testimonial videos of students, their experience here. And we do a lot of, I do a lot of beauty shots, a lot of B-roll of the campus because it's an absolutely gorgeous campus. It's a 1920s luxury resort hotel. It's just incredibly beautiful. Of course, we're in sunny Florida. I'm in Gulfport, Florida, which is St. Petersburg, basically.
Nice.
So we live in paradise, and I'm able to shoot a lot of pretty pictures and put them together with a lot of great interviews and a lot of talking head stuff. But we make it as creative as possible. A lot of Hollywood aspects, a lot of dolly shots and great lighting and so on and so on.
That sounds really cool. So it's essentially like the whole shebang. I mean, you've got everything from the actual production. I'm sure there's plenty of pre-production that goes into your stuff, and then there's the post. So I got to ask, Stan, what's your specialty? What do you do? What do you love doing most in regards to this industry?
I enjoy shooting. I think the most, just the whole act of shooting and doing it all. I'm a one-man crew, so I do everything. I'm shooting mostly DSLR, but I'm doing sound and light and shooting and clapboard and everything else.
Absolutely.
All by myself. But
you're not the only one, man. In fact, most of my students here, people watching or will be watching, they are learning the same thing. And it's kind of these days, it's just that's how it is. All the equipment can be acquired by one person and can be worked with by one person. So
sure.
You're doing it right, man. So I guess let's rewind real quick and talk a little bit about how you got started, how you got into the industry, and how you became successful in doing what you're doing today.
I always had a love for filmmaking. From the time I was a young child, I was making animated films on 8mm stop motion stuff. I got into music and became an entertainer for 13 years out on the road, traveling all over the United States and Canada. And when that came to an end, I searched around for a career and what to do, and was freelancing, doing my own video production at home with very archaic equipment, and landed a job here at Stetson Law back in 1998 as an audiovisual guy, fixing projectors in classrooms and that sort of thing. Saw an immediate need here for in-house video production, and slowly but surely sold myself to the people here that we should be doing all this in-house and kind of open their eyes to the possibilities. Instead of spending $30,000 on a production to do a 30-minute production, they could spend $30,000 on equipment and make as many productions as they wanted to. And over the years, it's turned into being probably the only video production specialist at a law school anywhere in the United States.
That's pretty awesome. And I love that story you just told me a little earlier when we were talking about the $30,000 production you guys paid someone else to do. And when it was all said and done, it's like, okay, we could have used that $30,000 to buy our own equipment, to create our own studio essentially, and to shoot as many videos as you wanted to. Is that right?
Correct. It's just a testament to how people can carve out their own niche. I mean, I created a need, people saw it, and by their standard, we're talking about a private law school, so there's a lot of money involved here. And by their standards, I'm cheap. So
absolutely you are, yeah. Completely.
So it was easy for them to visualize how this could benefit them. But it took a lot of years of work of carving it out and getting to where we are today. My most recent triumph, I'll call it, was the need for a large green screen studio where we could do not only online courses. They were already doing online courses in a different format that is very boxy, little talking head in a box with a PowerPoint window. I said, well, we could be doing this like a television show and make it far more captivating and interesting for the people who have to watch it. Well, since then, that's grown into a series of live webcasts for things like prospective students. We'll have 150, 200 prospective students watching a live webcast that's information about how to apply for school or for accepted students and what to expect in their first year of law school. Those things are hugely popular, and no other law school in the country is doing what we're doing.
That's just fantastic, man. You guys seem to be pretty groundbreaking in regards to that. And you guys, you're a success in regards to the future of what I believe is the future of education, not being in a classroom with a bunch of people, but you're at home or on your iPhone or iPad watching a session in progress, wherever that might be, whether you're on campus in another class or in the hallway or whatever. But you guys are doing it right, and I think that's the most important thing, because eventually everyone else will follow suit. But for the time being, you guys seem to be one of the most revolutionary, if you will, schools out there. So very cool.
It definitely is, and this school has a history of being rated number one by U.S. News and World Report in their annual rankings for trial advocacy, the number one school in the country in trial advocacy. And we do have a great program in that regard, but again, no one's doing what we're doing as far as video content. Search any law school, look for their videos online. For the most part, they don't exist.
Right. And now, when you guys say, like, you say you do training and I guess educational videos, what kind of content are you guys focusing on in these videos?
Good question. Over the years, I've done series of videos. We have a very big Center for Excellence in Elder Law here. Of course, we live in Florida. There's a lot of older people. Elder consumer protection stuff, scam videos, alert elders about the scams that are out there. We've done series on ethics in the law for attorneys and for students. And these are you'd think they'd just be talking heads, but they're not. We're talking actors, scenarios, all kinds of stuff.
That's cool.
Other than that, we've done, it's just so many different subjects in the law. Anything people can dream up here as far as content for attorneys, what they call continuing legal education, CLE, and that sort of thing. I've done it.
Wow. So you kind of have like this limitless amount of content you can create for these students and for continued education. That's pretty cool. I mean, there's no cap for it.
True, absolutely.
So you seem to have a continuing job that won't fire you anytime soon, which is great, right?
Yes, it only gets better and better. I mean, as more people find out what it is we can do, more people can dream up stuff and bring it to me, and they want to do it. I've just finished a very, very cool video. It was all shot on green screen, and so it's all virtual studio kind of stuff. That gives students, lets the new incoming students, it's part of their orientation to tell them all about our pro bono requirement, which is one of the most heftiest in the country. It was 60 hours of pro bono required for students before they can graduate.
Wow.
And so there's a lot, of course I make it all, virtual SETI and, kinds of stuff. So I do a lot of stuff in After Effects to do, in pre-production, post-production, And I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just emulating a lot of stuff I see all over the place,
And that's actually my next question too. So we talked about production with what the cameras you guys are using. Apparently, you're using a lot of DSLRs, which is what I teach a lot of our students to use. It's affordable. It's gorgeous. You have interchangeable lens capabilities.
Yeah,
so that's all really great. Let's talk about the editing aspect. You are working in After Effects, you said, with green screen clearly. And then what are you cutting on? What systems are you using?
I use the entire Adobe suite. I've been using Premiere Pro before it was Pro. It was just Premiere back in the day, but frankly, it's all I've ever used has been the Adobe suite. in my 17 years of doing this. It's been Premiere Pro.
Hmm.
I got into After Effects about 5 years ago when I was asked to do the special effects on a science fiction feature film, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I said I did, and I learned along the way, and it came out great. So, the key there is just never say no. Just never say I can't do that, because whatever it is you need to do, there's a tutorial for it on YouTube. So,
especially nowadays, right? I mean, before it wasn't like that. Before you had to figure it out yourself, essentially, or dig into some archive to find an article about it.
Right.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. I've had moments in my career where someone's like, they want to shoot this entire music video on all green screen, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, we can do it, because I knew it was possible. I just didn't know how or what to do to make it happen. So, we shot everything, not even knowing what was going to happen, and then finally we went into the editing, and that's when the magic really happened. And it was a lot of trial and error, as you said. Figure it out as you go, look up tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So definitely, I like that. So you seem to just be an Adobe guy. You're completely 100% all Adobe.
I use, there's some third-party stuff that I use. I use a lot of Video Copilot stuff. I use Element 3D. I use Zaxworks, Invigorator, 3D Invigorator Pro a lot. I use some Red Giant stuff, in post-production.
Very cool.
One of my favorite little things to use is Digital Anarchy's Beauty Box, because I do shoot a lot of older people and a lot of females. And as soon as Beauty Box is applied, you're sending yourself to render hell, because it can increase a render by a factor of 10. But it's completely worth it. When I showed my supervisor here what Beauty Box could do, he said, "Oh, you must buy that now." And and we did. But man, does it's a one-click wonder, man, of fixing people's faces.
I actually used the same thing on a couple of different shoots. I had a CEO I shot that looked a little tired in one of our shoots, and we were working with a schedule. He's a busy guy, and we had to get him for like just 2 minutes, basically, get him on camera, and then upon giving the demo or the comp, they're like, he looks really tired. So we added that Beauty Box, and it made him look so much better, so much more alive and vibrant. And for those of you who don't know, by the way, your viewers, people watching this, Beauty Box is a plugin for some of the bigger editing software that allows you to basically take away wrinkles and any sort of imperfections on the face for your video. So it makes it look more glamorous, more chic, more beautiful.
Absolutely.
Is that right, Stan?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say it's like a career gem when it comes to editing.
Yeah, so. It's the first tool in my toolbox most days.
Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, I'm sure there'll be a link in the description at this point. Now you can check it out, as well as some of the other tools that Stan mentioned for his editing suite. You guys can have those down there too. So Stan, let's go ahead and move on. I've asked you about what you use, how you got to where you are, what you do. Let's talk a little bit about some of the coolest, craziest, or most badass things that you've done. What's your favorite project that you've worked on up until this day?
Just recently, I was hired to shoot a piece called "A Visitor from the Past." This has nothing to do with the law school. This is something I did on my own, and I do a lot of freelance stuff. And this is basically based on a poem by a guy named Thielen Palk. And it's about a ghost of a Revolutionary War soldier, continental soldier, coming to a guy in his bedroom at night and laying this huge rap on him about our freedoms and liberties and what's happening to our country. And it's a great piece. It's a great poem. But I had to do just a ton of special effects. Had to shoot day for night. First time I'd ever done that. A lot of it was shot on green screen, but we did also shoot in a large bedroom, and I was able to do some real interesting stuff as far as dolly shots, and using warp stabilizer in post to get some really cool overhead shots that were actually handheld, but don't look like it when it's all said and done. Mm-hmm. Smoke machine, fog machine used.
Nice.
And door opening, huge beam of light coming through, and a lot of backlit stuff, and had a lot of fun doing it. We actually shot all the bedroom stuff in 2 hours, and then in the afternoon shot all the green screen stuff. and then I took about 2 weeks to do it in post, every night at home, working on it in post. It's actually on YouTube now. It's called A Visitor from the Past. If anybody wants to look it up.
Awesome,
But
definitely.
It's about 5 minutes long, but
Cool. We'll have a link down there.
allowed me to stretch in something, the kind of things that I hadn't done in quite a while. So that was fun.
And that's I really appreciate people saying that they get back to the roots of why they got into this. I mean, you said you made movies when you were young, 8mm, doing stop motion stuff.
Yeah, I got a couple of those up on YouTube as well.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have a link down there in the description if you guys want to check out Stan's stuff. Go check it out now. But I think getting back to that point, it's hard to there's like a work-life sort of balance, or like a pleasure-work balance, that I think a lot of editors and a lot of producers tend to lose when they're so busy with work. So I'd like to ask you, Stan, how do you balance the ability to do work like the legal video stuff in your law university, and then your personal stuff that you enjoy doing, like a ghost or a poem turned into a short?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I'm passionate about filmmaking, and my wife understands that. I've been married 34 years. My kids are adults, and they're pretty well out of the house now. My workstation is in the living room, right where the 60-inch television is, typically playing Tampa Bay Rays baseball games, which my wife and I are huge fans. But my wife is very understanding. Plus, there's a lot of nice side income that comes from being an independent filmmaker, so she enjoys that as well. But we also still find plenty of time for each other. We live on the beach. We love our lives. We're having a great time. I've only gotten seriously into my independent filmmaking in the last 7 years. I got involved in a nationwide filmmaking contest where I was one of 5 finalists.
Wow.
That went to New York, went to Manhattan. It was just a thing that was being executive produced by Spike Lee, so he was there. All of the finalists got to show our final submissions in the Tribeca Cinema, packed with people, and the media was there. And so from that, it was like best day ever. So I continued filmmaking from then, and seeking out. I mostly make documentaries about people who inspire me, and I was lucky enough to have one called Making Waste. It just was last year. Making Waste, and subtitled How One Man Made a Movie and Ruined His Life, about a good friend of mine who was also a filmmaker who decided to make a feature film and put everything he had into it and lost everything, and ended up having a crappy film.
That's harsh.
And his career has never recovered, but we made a kind of a lighthearted documentary out of it, just a 30-minute piece that really struck a chord with people, and won Best Director at Atlanta DocuFest, and won Best Documentary at the Treasure Coast Film Festival here in Florida.
That's fantastic. Is there anywhere we can see it that we can pull it up and check?
No, because I don't own it. I wish I did, but I don't. But the people who own it are still trying to figure out distribution for that film. Okay,
gotcha. So would you suggest for the people that are watching, and the budding entrepreneur and filmmakers that are watching this, to do festivals and to get their stuff out there? What is your advice for getting into that sort of industry?
Well, it's all kind of a vanity thing for me. Film festivals are, because there's nothing like seeing your film on a big screen in a movie theater with a full audience. There's just and the Q&A afterwards and all that. That's really all I'm in it for. I haven't made a dime from my own films. I've been hired to do several films, and that's been very lucrative. And I'm not shy about charging a professional fee, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And when people have seen the work I've done, I got involved in doing. And this is again, I've carved out another niche. I started going on trips with the College of Law that were civil rights trips, where a large group of students would go to all the hot spots of the civil rights movement of the 60s. I started meeting these amazing foot soldiers from the civil rights movement, people who made everything change and everything happen back in the day.
Yeah.
And I ended up making a 1-hour film out of one of these guys who is now 85 years old, who just told amazing stories. And that's, of course, a trick is finding a good storyteller. But this guy had amazing stories. So I made a 1-hour film out of his life, and that went over really well. In fact, it changed his life because he was one of these unknown foot soldiers, and once he got his stories out there, he became a celebrity in Alabama at 80. He was 83 at the time.
Wow.
And that is really, really gratifying. Again, never made a dime from the film. Don't care. We changed lives. A lot of young people have seen this film. It's influenced them. It's motivated them to be more proactive in their lives. And that's the kind of thing that really speaks to me. I really could care less if I make any money doing it. It's the fact that I'm having an impact and we're making a difference instead of just making a living.
Right, so it's essentially your passion for telling stories on camera and
definitely
changing lives, man. That's pretty cool. That's very impactful. And, I can really relate to that. I think a lot of people that are watching this also are in it for that reason. Their hearts are in it. They want to tell stories and move people. So that's awesome, man. I'm really glad you're doing that, Stan. I'd love to see one of your films, actually. So definitely hook us up with a link. I guess
I will do that.
That would be great. And by the time you guys watch this, it'll probably be down here in the description, so check those out for sure. Stan, last question for you. What kind of other advice or tidbits can you give our viewers who are just starting out and really want to get into the industry of filmmaking as well as just creating better video? Everyone's got a camera these days. What can they do to make their stuff better? What kind of tip do you have?
Well, there's two ways to go here. You can either carve out something with an institution like where I am, and believe me, there's a lot of need out here, and some people don't even know about the need, and that's why you have to sell it to them. You have to sell yourself. You have to make people believe, show them what you can do. Do a lot of stuff for free just to get your foot in the door, just so you can have a portfolio to show people what you're capable of doing. And that's one way of going, is getting a full-time job doing what we do, as long as it's not some soulless, soul-crushing job. I feel great about where I am and what I'm doing. I have a lot of fun doing it. The other way to go, of course, is to do it on your own. I have a friend who's a great filmmaker who does nothing but freelance work and has got more work than he can handle after several years of getting that together and getting himself out there, getting his name out there. It can be done. It's just you have to make getting a job your full-time job. That has to be your full-time job. You have to get up in the morning. You have to pound the pavement. You have to get out there and sell yourself. Keep showing. Keep putting stuff in the hands of people, saying, "Look at this. Check this out. This is the kind of stuff you could be doing. We could be doing this kind of stuff for you." Make commercials on spec for people. Show it to me. Get an idea in your head and say, "I've got a great idea. I'd like to," that's really what it's all about, man. Is selling yourself and making sure that you're able to make a living doing what you love to do, and don't compromise. Don't quit. Never surrender. Just keep it up.
Beautifully said, man. That's awesome. That's exactly everything I think that our viewers need to hear. Because a lot of times I think it falls to the waistline, the sideline. People.
Yeah, man. Listen, guys. I'm going to be 57 years old next month, and I've got maybe 10, 15 good years left in doing this before I just get too tired to do it. But I've been able to do this now ever since I left my music career, and it's and it was slow at first, and the pay was little, and we just made it, man. It's all about making it happen.
I'll tell you, man, you're 57. You have more energy than most people I know that are in their mid-20s.
That's the rock and roll that keeps me young, John.
That's fantastic, man. In fact, I saw a picture of you with your long hair, your ponytail, and I was like, this guy's a rock and roller, man.
Yeah.
I love it. So listen, man, last question for you real quick. I know I said the last one was. For people that have businesses, let's say someone has a small business, can you just reinforce the importance of having video and how they can use video to leverage their business? These days online video is the most powerful tool. Can you kind of speak to that?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's not as hard as it used to be. because people have realized, anybody who's tech savvy at all in business, and of course people in business, most of them are these days because everything's online. So it's not as hard to sell people on it as it used to be. People just used to think that was pie in the sky, Hollywood. How in the world can we pull that off and make that happen? But anymore, people are realizing that it's a far more accessible than it used to be. There are guys like me, much younger guys like me, like yourself, who have the tools and have the talent to be able to pull and once you can just show people what it is you've done, as long as you're hitting all the right buttons and your work is impressive, it's not hard for other people to visualize what you can do for them. And they may have some harebrained ideas about what they want to do. If you watch so many commercials on television today, local commercials, they're so bad. They're so bad.
I agree entirely. Oh my God.
So much more can be done. I mean, even in a simple shoot where you've got a great idea, if you know how to execute it, you know how to pull it off, you can really impress the heck out of people, man. That you'll have more work that you can handle just from 2 or 3 great commercials or documentaries, or I mean, people will start to line up to work with you. It's absolutely true.
I think the big tip there is, like, maybe watch TV, watch things that are already out there, and learn what not to do. Something that rubs you the wrong way, just make sure not to do that in your stuff, and that pretty much helps you out a lot.
That, but there's also very, very important is you as a person. You've got to be an affable, easygoing, agreeable. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can make it happen. You also have to be a director. You have to learn how to get the best performances out of people without making them cry. Which, I've learned how to do that pretty much. That's, again, another really important aspect to this. If you can't get good, a lot of times in what we do, you don't get the best actors around, and you get people with wooden deliveries, and you got to learn how to direct people and get great performances out of them.
Correct, and that's exactly why I got into this, to tell people basically how to feel. Because at the end of the day, it's not about anyone on set; it's about the viewer, and the viewer is going to be the one that gauges and judges and critiques you. So, yeah, Stan, this is all great advice. Really appreciate you spending the time with us today to talk about video production. This has been awesome.
So happy to be here, John. Thanks for including me.
Of course, man. Anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we go?
Oh, just go for it, man. Don't ever quit. Make it your full-time job.
Some of the best advice we've ever heard. All right, thanks so much, Stan, for your time. Guys, again, check out Stan's stuff. Oh, I forgot to ask you, where can we find you? Where can we access your stuff? Where can we see all of your work, Stan?
Most of my stuff's on YouTube. My channel is just Stan Arthur, one word, StanArthur.
Got it. And it'll be a link down in the description as well. Guys, please like this if you liked our conversation today. Feel free to ask any questions, comments down at the bottom. If you have any other questions for Stan in regards to getting started in production. Thanks so much, Stan, for your time. Hope you have a great week, man.
All right. Thanks very much for having me.
You got it, man. Take it easy.